What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Phaithful Phanatics show. Eagles starting to make cuts. Do they have a problem in the wide receiver room in a good way? Gint, the Phillies dropped 3 of 4 to the Mets. Is there a difference between holding the team accountable and overreacting to a series loss? That and a lot more when we're back in 30 seconds.
Gets around in front. And Philadelphia has it.
What's up, everybody? We are live here on DSM Media on our Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube channels. You guys know the drill. If you're new to the channel, head on over to @DSM_media on Twitter. Hit that follow button. Check out the link tree in our bio. It'll take you to every social media platform we are available on. If you guys want to be interactive with today's show, head on over to the Facebook, but more specifically, the YouTube channel, and we get your guys' comments, thoughts, questions, concerns, whatever, up onto the screen like so. I'm your host, Dylan Davis. You can find me on Twitter @DylanJD98. To my right, my faithful co-host, Matt McGinty. Check him out on Twitter @Matt_McGinty. Getting long time no see, brother. What's going on?
Yeah, man. It's been a while. Summer, obviously, terrible time for me to be faithful. Pretty unreliable, but just playing golf, vacation, work's been terrible.
Yeah, I was going to say, you started the
basketball season around the corner.
Coach Gint's back?
Yeah, he is. Glad getting ready. Football season is vastly approaching, which is super exciting. Baseball's winding down, and I'm excited to hunker back down with you, obviously. So
yeah, man. There were rumors spiraling all offseason that Coach Gint was going to retire. But he had to pull the clipboard out one last time, and we'll see where it takes him. We'll keep everybody updated on Coach Gint's adventure this season. But with that being said, before we get into Eagles talk, because there's a few things I want to gloss over. Like you said, it's a very not bleh time, but it kind of is. We're in the middle of August. You're watching the Phillies every night. You're talking about the Phillies every day. Outside of that, all we can really talk about is speculation. What are the Eagles going to do? What are the Sixers going to do? Et cetera right now, right? So the Eagles coming off a 21-20 win in preseason week 2 over the Browns. Couple things stood out. We'll get into that. I mentioned the wide receiver room, and I mentioned that specifically because we're sitting here talking about how they have 4 locks, and is Jalen Reagor going to make the opening day roster? Is Greg Ward? Well, now there's a couple other younger names that are appearing on the scene that Eagles fans, it's Paul Turner. They it's that kind of vibe where now guys make a couple plays, they make a couple nice grabs. And I'm not saying they're undeserving of a roster spot, Gint, but it's just it brings out the love Philly fans have for these guys that haven't done much, and it's kind of a hopeful thing. But before we get to all of that, I want to start with the Phillies because it's conversation that's been going on since Sunday night here in the city. As everybody already knows, the Phillies lost another series to the New York Mets. They dropped 3 of 4 over the weekend, specifically Sunday in horrible, horrible fashion. Losing 10-9, and we'll get into that game and everything that went wrong. But you see the reaction from the fan base and from the media in this city the last 2 days. And the conversation that we've been having, and I want to get your thoughts on it first, are where do you stand with this Phillies team post the Mets series? Obviously, we know they bounced back with a 4-1 win against the Reds last night. But after that Mets series, where do you really stand? Where's your confidence level? And what's your thought process on holding them accountable for the way they performed over the weekend, but not getting so far down on them that they're just not a viable team anymore? They don't deserve a playoff spot. They're going to get bounced in the one and only series they get because it's on TikTok, it's on Twitter, it's on the radio. I've heard a lot of it. Where do you stand with this Phillies team right now?
Yeah, I don't think this weekend tainted my opinion on the Phillies too much. I still think they are there. I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're obviously going to be a wild card spot. The best way to put it, though, and it was just the most disappointing part of it, when you see a team win a game like a year later and you were like, last year's Phillies would not have won this game.
Yeah, it's something we've said for the last month.
Last year's Phillies would have lost that game, and this year's Phillies lost that game too on Sunday. Like that, I watched that game. It was my dad's birthday on Sunday. We're watching the game, and I was like, they go 4-0 in the first inning. I was like, they're
Yeah.
this game.
Vibes are high.
Dude, when Bone puts one out and they're up 7-4, I was like, oh, nice. This is going to be a win.
Yeah.
And it just came crashing and burned. It was a really, really bad loss. But I think where I'm at with them is they're the same as I thought they were. I think they're going to be a playoff team. And it's such a roller coaster sport that who knows when the playoffs come around where they're really at.
Yeah.
I'm not throwing in the towel saying there's no way they can win a playoff series, but I'm not sitting here saying, oh, this team's a title contender and this loss was nothing. So that's kind of where I'm at.
So it's very odd to find that happy medium, to find the balance with this team. But like you said, in a sport like baseball, which we've been clamoring for the playoffs the last 2 years, and we're almost there. We can taste it, right, dude? Like we are almost back in playoff baseball for the Philadelphia Phillies. And now it's like the needle moved just a little bit for fans, because now like we feel like we're going to get there, but just because they're struggling against a true contender like the Mets, now it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they make the playoffs because they're going to lose. And look what they do against the Mets. And I can't get behind that sentiment. Like it really, it's pissing me off the last 2 days because I'm not excusing what happened over the weekend. Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola came out completely flat in the two biggest starts of this season for them two. The bats didn't wake up until Sunday. Rob Thompson made a couple questionable decisions over the weekend, specifically on Sunday, and we can break all of that down. The New York fans took over Citizens Bank Park for a large majority of the series. There's a lot of issues with what happened. They were flat. They came out flat. You can't have that energy in a rivalry in a big-time series like this against a rival. I get all of it. That does not exclude what they've been able to accomplish this season, what they can accomplish still this season, and the position that they're in while being shorthanded all year. Like, do we just forget and push to the side that the reigning NL MVP has been out of this lineup for the last month and a half, for the last 7+ weeks? And while that was going on, their most consistent hitter, their everyday second baseman, missed over 8 weeks. They just lost a late inning reliever for the year. They just lost their closer for a couple days in that important Met series. They struggled with losing, Zach Eflin and Kyle Gibson and Ranger Suarez for a part of this year. They've done all of this. And what have they done in the last month and a half? Gained ground. How have they gained ground? Well, they own the season series over the Dodgers. They own the season series over the Cardinals. They own the season series over the Padres. They own the season series over the Brewers. They're 500 with the Atlanta Braves right now. But everyone tells me they are not a good team because they only beat the bad teams on their schedule. And that, this conversation is going to keep going through a loop as this segment goes on, because it's a very fine line. Accountability versus overreaction. And when I speak what I just said, people are going to take it as I'm letting them off the hook. I'm not holding them accountable for this weekend or Sunday. That's not it. But losing to the Mets does not mean this team can't win a goddamn playoff series against the St. Louis Cardinals in October. Yeah, the two don't equate.
There's one point I want to jump back that you made, and it's the fan base and what Citizens Bank Park looked like this weekend.
Catastrophe.
Now, let me ask you this. What's worse? The fact that the stadium looked like that, or the excuses that just fly through national media, not even social media, just media? One, it's too expensive. Two, dude, I read something today. It's back to school week. I said, yeah. What does that have to do with anything? The stadium was a complete and utter disgrace. It's something I didn't think really I'd ever see. A team completely took over the stadium. It was when Sunday when they hit the game-tying home run, when they made it 4-4 and they showed the stadium, I was like, oh, my God, it's worse than you thought. Because obviously, there's some blue shirts out there that could be Philly shirts. You don't really see it. Then when they hit a home run, everyone's standing up cheering. Yeah. It's
you could hear "Let's Go Mets" all series long in Philly. And so on that conversation, it's a combination of everything. I'm not going to exclude the prices. If you have a family of 5 paying for everything, it's probably a little more difficult to get down there all the time. I wasn't down there this weekend. You can lump me, lump you. We're all to blame. Shout out George Ryder, closeted Mets fan. He was at all 4 games this weekend.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
That's it. But I think it's a combination of everything. But I think more so than the price, than school, than anything like that. I think it's people's lack of faith or trust in it, like the lack of buy-in to this team, even though we're almost there. Like everyone kind of believes they're going to secure that third wild card spot. People are still hesitant in what this product of the team is. And not to mention, when you're injury plagued and you're playing like last night, they had their lowest attendance record of the year, like 19,000 or something. Dude, you're coming off that Mets series. It's a Monday night in August. You don't have Bryce. You're injury plagued. You don't. Bryce Harper is not playing, and you're playing the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah.
I'm surprised there wasn't 12,000 people there. If we're being quite frank, like it's a tough situation to be in. Because it is funny, right? Like you can go on StubHub, you can go on Ticketmaster, you can find tickets for $12. You literally can.
I saw these tickets.
Now I get the whole thing. Gas money, parking's $22. If you buy it, I mean, Jesus Christ, I drink down there. Beers are $14, $15, $13, right? Food if you eat there. But like, if you're going with a buddy, so let me ask you this question: do you think it's changed? Right. So, what's everyone's arguing about the money right now? Families. It's more family oriented over the last couple of years. So a family of four are struggling to get down there often or even just once. Okay. Back in like 08, 09, 10, 11, when it was prime Philly season and they were sold, the bank was sold out every night. It was more of a party scene. It was more dudes our age, a little younger, a little older, going with their friends. It wasn't little kids and a mom and a dad and the cousin all going down. So you pay your own way, like you buy your own ticket, you buy your own beer. It's not a big deal, right? So does that change it? Like what's the word I'm looking for? The demographic of Citizens Bank Park has changed. It's more family oriented than it ever was.
I agree with that, and this might sound wrong. It might be the direction the team's going in. True, honestly, because you think back to like 08, 09, like when they're winning, that's like toxic. People are getting wasted going to the games. Like
right, it's a part.
Right. Yeah. Now it's like they haven't made the playoffs in a couple of years, and people take it as a Saturday afternoon to go do something rather than the Phillies playing on a Saturday afternoon at home. Like, so I think 100%. That's definitely where you are right in terms of demographic. It seems to be a little bit more family.
Well, why do you think when you and I tailgate at the Link parking lot, we get told when there's no cars around to move our table and cornhole boards? I doubt in 2010 when the bank was bumping, security was telling everyone to move their shit. It's because it's not that. Here's a question I have: when did the yard? I should look this up. When did the yard get established in Citizens Bank Park? You know, a little base, the outfield and right field.
That's a good question.
Well, think about that. It's who's using the yard? What was it made for? Kids. Okay. First of all, future reference for whenever I have children and we go to a Phillies game, your asses will not be in the yard because if I'm paying to go to a Phillies game, we're watching the Phillies game, kids. We are not playing wiffle ball in Citizens Bank Park. We play wiffle ball out back. We're not going there paying all that money to go play wiffle ball with a bunch of strangers. So let me know if you find that.
2018.
Oh, well, there you go. The demographics are greatly changed.
That was a really good shot. I didn't even think of that, to be honest with you. And
come on, man.
To their own right, when you're losing, you can't drive a fan base with just drunk assholes like us. You got to find a different way, and you put a wiffle ball stadium outside the field. You might get a lot of kids out. It's pretty smart
way to explain it. Like when the Phillies were throwing out Cody Ashe at third base every day. I didn't care too much to go see them in the 95-degree weather. Now, if Ryan Howard's at first base, I would have loved to be this age back then, but we weren't, and that's kind of how it played out. But you know, it's just. Again, I know we got off topic and we're talking about attendance and prices and stuff like that, but it all kind of goes into the fan base's over or underreaction and holding this team accountable.
And which it shapes up like they're going to be. I do think they're going to be a playoff team. It'll change. The bank's going to be packed come playoff baseball. People are feeding for playoff baseball. Especially
first of all, you better hope they get a home playoff game.
That's true.
Because the first series, they're going to be on the road for 3.
Yeah, even the last couple series, though, I'm saying.
Because the Astros are in town the final week of the season. Like, think about this, right? I remember 2 years ago, it was the bubble. It was like the shortened year, the 60-game season or whatever. We had a chance to make the playoffs going into the final weekend, the final series against the Rays. We were in Tampa. I remember just so deflated. I remember Nola came out in the final game of the season and got rocked when they had no chance. I know they needed help from other teams, but still had no chance. They lose that game. That's a lot different than if they're fighting for a wild card spot and the Houston Astros come to town and it's at Citizens Bank Park in the last weekend of September. I promise that stadium's going to be 40,000 plus of screaming Phillies fans at that particular time.
Yeah, 100%. Like the wheels are about to turn to where it's really
right. We know we're there.
Things are going to be a lot different. We won't have many kids playing wiffle ball in center field.
Right. So I just it's right center, right in the corner by the Chickies. That's another thing. Listen, you want to complain about money? How about we don't go and buy a $14 slice of Boardwalk pizza? Let's try that. Have you seen the Manco line every single night? What are we doing, everybody? First of all, hot take. Overrated.
It's so overrated.
Overrated slice of pizza. I don't care what you say.
It really is.
It's overrated for what it is in Ocean City, New Jersey, let alone waiting in that line. What are you going to say whoa for?
No, I thought you were going in a different direction. But yeah, I agree. I thought you were about to say all Boardwalk pizza is overrated.
Oh, no. Well, Sam's Pizza Palace is it's as good as it gets.
The best pizza on the planet.
There you go. Thank you. So a wild man speaking some facts here. But all right, with all that being said, so here I just want everyone to understand. I'm not throwing away what they did this past series. And actually, let's do this. Let's wrap up the game Sunday, because I do want to hold Rob Thompson and this team accountable for what happened Sunday. Friday, Saturday morning, your top two starters didn't show up. Neither one went through 5 innings or so, got rocked, gave up a lot of hits, a lot of runs, right? Bailey Falter comes in, saves the freaking day on Saturday night with a 6-inning, 3-hit gem against the Mets. They come back, they win that game. They have a chance to even out the series, right? You come out, and so now here's a fine line of critiquing Rob Thompson and also saying, what do you really want him to do here? So the Phillies get out to a 4-0 lead. Is it Rob Thompson's fault again that Kyle Gibson couldn't hit the strike zone if his life depended on that? He didn't have any control after the first 2 batters. He threw 105 plus pitches in less than 5 innings work. That's a problem. He gives up the lead. Alec Boehm, 3-run home run. They retake the lead. It goes into a rain delay. He puts in Connor Brogdon. Was anybody complaining about the Connor Brogdon selection out of the pen again? No, probably not. What is it? Is it Rob Thompson's fault that Connor Brogdon lets up a 3-run moonshot off of Mark Hanna? No, it's not. That 7-7 ball game.
That thing looked like it went off his handle. I was like, that's a pop.
I know.
We're good. And somehow
I know.
I was like, what?
Then he presses the correct button in the bottom of the 8th, almost makes the smartest move of the season by pinch hitting Gene Segura. He hits one out. 8-7. David Robertson wants the ball. Now, you can blame Rob Thompson. You can blame him for throwing him for the 6-inning save the night before and then allowing him to come into this 1-run game. Whatever. You give the veteran the ball. No, Sir Anthony, you're depleted. It's a veteran tired David Robertson, or it's Sam Coonrod out of the bullpen. What do you want to do, right? So I don't technically blame him for that decision. Here's where I want to throw the blame on Rob Thompson. So David Robertson gives up a 2-run home run. You're now losing 9-8. You leave him out there after the 2-run home run. He settles in, gets the next 2 outs. Then you trot out there and yank him for a dude making his major league debut. Again, he got DFA'd yesterday. I know I'm yelling in this microphone. He got DFA'd yesterday. Tyler Sear makes his debut in a 1-run game and throws the fattest, juiciest meatball right down the pipe. I think it might have been the first pitch he threw, first or second. And it got absolutely obliterated. And then that bites you in the ass when the Phillies actually get to Edwin Diaz in the bottom of the 9th. They actually make noise. They actually score a run off this dude. And you lost by 1. Forget the David Robertson decision. The Tyler Sear decision was the most mind-boggling decision of the entire weekend.
You summed it up pretty good. I don't really know how to follow that up besides agree with you. But the David Robertson points, if your vet is saying, I called for the ball, I wanted the ball.
Right, he called to the dugout.
That's what I'm saying. That's why you brought him in. But I mean, again, the David Robertson thing, can't blame him. And anyway, the Kyle Gibson thing, I think, is the biggest. 105 pitches, not even 5 innings of work is unacceptable.
Dude, in a series in which you had Nola, Gibson, and Wheeler, Bailey Falter threw the best game and the only win. And in a series that the Mets did not have either of Scherzer or DeGrom.
Yeah.
That's a problem. So if you think I'm excusing what they did, we can keep this conversation going because I got a CVS receipt of problems I had with this team this weekend. But the overall landscape of the direction this team is going, I'm not questioning. The schedule's far too easy. They've proven to beat other playoff, caliber teams already this season. They're going to play the Braves 7 more times. Now, they could end up losing the season series, but guess what? They have a chance to win the season series over the Braves. So just because they're 5-14 against the Mets, I know it's a gut punch, especially because it's New York. It is those dirty, dirty Mets, right? But that's why you're going to be like, you know what? They're going to get bounced in the first round. Like, you do know Bryce Harper is coming back in about a week. You do know Sir Anthony Dominguez is okay, and he should be throwing within 3 or 4 days. You do know Brandon Marsh, knock on wood, will be back by mid-September, hopefully. So, like, what are you guys so... I don't know. Not what are you so angry about, but...
Yeah, it's the...
Come on, man.
Passion. It's one of the best fans in the world, right? But you can't let a weekend series taint the overall picture of a team, especially with everything you said, with everything that's going on, all the issues.
Think about what people were saying when they got swept by the Cubs.
Exactly.
That's why it's too much of a roller coaster. It's my favorite, analogy for it. You know how with the Eagles or with Darryl or with the Sixers in an off season, and teams start plucking away free agents. Teams are making trades, and we haven't done anything yet. I was saying stuff about Howie, too, when our only move was Zach freaking Pascal. What are you doing? When Daryl Morey, our only move so far was Furkan Korkmaz last offseason. What the hell are you doing? Get off your ass, right? But then you see the total, the whole picture. You see what ends up playing out. You have to let it play out. It is a 162-game marathon. And we sit here, we sit here and try to overanalyze every game, every at-bat, every pitching outing, and just put it in a vacuum. And it's not that simple. It's really not. So in a month from now, you're damn right we can start to analyze what this team is and what they can do in a postseason run, whether they're struggling or they're hot again. But right now, on what's that again, August 23rd, talking 5 more weeks of baseball. In 2 weeks, these same fans that are going nuts are World Series. Bryce is back. Like, here's another thing. Going back to the Sunday game. So he chooses Robertson. Robertson obviously kicks him in the rear. What do you think the reaction from the same fans that are bitching and moaning right now? What do you think the reaction is if he doesn't choose Robertson and he brings in Coonrod and Coonrod gives up that home run?
Oh yeah.
Robertson wanted the ball. He's the veteran. What did you trade for him?
Yeah, exactly. You're right. You're so right.
Hindsight is so 2020 in managing or coaching at this level. And don't get me wrong, you're allowed to critique. That's the point of what you and I do. Critique Sirianni. We critique Joe Girardi when he was here. We critique Doc. The point is, it's a lot different than when he chooses the right decision. The right decision was to go with the veteran who called the dugout for the baseball, not Sam freaking Coonrod, who just got activated the other day.
No, yeah, you're entirely right. If it's the other way, it would have been a huge issue.
Abe checking in. Long time no see, Abe. I got the 12th pick in my fantasy draft. Who do I target for 12 and 13?
DeAndre Swift and CeeDee Lamb. Actually, DeAndre Swift probably won't make it.
No, he might. He might. I mean, you got to figure. Hold on. You got who? You got to figure in terms of running backs.
Eckler,
JT, McCaffrey, Henry,
Kupp, Jefferson,
Chase. Maybe Kelsey's off the board at that point. I don't know. People, I wouldn't take Travis Kelce, but I know some people are gung ho with getting an advantage there because he's like another wide receiver. DeAndre Swift could definitely be there. wide receiver, Devontae Adams could be there. Stephon Diggs. Would you take Stephon Diggs or would you take CeeDee Lamb, Gant?
I would take Diggs. Who I have there? I have McCaffrey, Taylor, Eckler, Cook, Jefferson, Kupp, Najee, Derrick Henry, DeAndre Swift, Travis Kelce, Jamar Chase 11, Joe Mixon 12, Stephon Diggs 13.
Oh, Jamar Chase low, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So there you go, Gant. Abe, we just gave you about 13 players you can pick from.
Yeah, you get 2 of those guys. Abe, send me the Venmo.
I would, if I were you, I would go 1-1 though, at least.
Yeah, I wouldn't take
that. I would not stack at either position because the second you do that in a 12-man league and it goes all the way back and all the way back down to you, you could be at a little bit of a disadvantage. So I don't like stacking that early in a 12-person league. If you had like an 8-team league, that's one of the leagues I'm in. Stack all you want, but in a league with that many teams, it's tough to do again. But all right. Let's change the topic. We can always circle back around to the Phillies and what we think they'll end up doing tonight. But I want to talk some Eagles. Obviously, cuts has started to been made. I believe by next week. It's in a couple days. In like 7 days, they have to be trimmed down to the full 53 at that point. And there's 2 rooms that I want to talk about on the offensive side of the ball first, Ken. And that is, they'll start with the wide receiver room because it's what I mentioned. And I was joking in the beginning. George said, "Stop it." My whole point of this is you have 4, right? If you're looking at the Eagles depth chart, you have AJ Brown, you have Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins, Zach Pascal. Those are the 4 locks to make it. The question is, how many are the Eagles planning to keep? I kind of ran down the depth chart and I got to about, without including even a 5th wide receiver, I got to about 44. So there's room there to keep probably 6. So you have obviously the biggest question mark of them all in Jalen Reagor. I cannot see the Eagles paying to just move on from him at this point. I don't know if anyone's going to want to trade for him. You have the kid everyone fell in love with at the beginning of camp in Britton Covey, right? Can he make the team? Some think he can. You have, is it Devin Allen, the track star who got under a 70. George, I disagree. I think he's a Nick Sirianni guy. I think Pascal is more of a number 3 on this team than he is not being a lock to make the roster. That's just my opinion. You have Allen that got under the deep ball for the touchdown on Sunday, and he's out. I'm not really including him, but have you ever been on Eagles Facebook, Kent? It's the worst place in the world. And people posted in the chats that in the groups that I'm in his touchdown, talking about, man, they can't wait to see his speed in between Devontae Smith and AJ Brown. As if he's going to be the slot receiver for them. But then, no. But on a realistic note, now the last guy who I haven't even really heard of until this last preseason game in the week leading into it, Deion Kane, who not just like people on Eagles Facebook, Eagles Twitter, beat writers are talking about how he has a legitimate shot to make the team. We didn't even mention Greg Ward's name. John Hightower's still on this team. He's definitely an odd man out, but he's on. They have about 9 dudes in this wide receiver room. And I'm just interested to see how it ends up playing out.
Yeah.
I most likely agree with Abe there. I just don't see them getting rid of Reagor.
I would have that. I would have Deion Kane as my 6 as well. And you've mentioned it a lot. It's one of your favorite quotes is, if you think Howie's ego can handle the fact that they're going to let Reagor walk after him regardless of everything, it's just not going to happen. It's not realistic.
They would lose money. They would have to basically pay to cut him.
Yeah. Reagor's going to be on the roster this year. I shouldn't say that.
Unless they trade him.
So. And then I think Deion Kane will be at 6th wide receiver they keep. Now, who else would it be? It's not going to be this track star that caught one bomb down the field.
Allen, no, but Covey was the guy probably 8 days ago that people thought was going to be that 6th guy.
Yeah.
And then he has like the sprained ligament or something in his hand. It's not torn. He doesn't need surgery, whatever the case is, but he's out at the moment.
And then I don't think Greg Ward. At first, it was Greg Ward, wasn't it? Wasn't everyone thought it was going to be Greg Ward?
Yeah. Well, he's kind of survived 19 training camps in a row.
Wasn't Kane the one that was in Indianapolis prior?
Was he? Well, Pascal was in Indianapolis.
I thought Kane had ties to Indianapolis. I could be so wrong with that. I feel like
like this is the weird thing, right? Like, do you think if you think you can sneak Kane onto the practice squad, but Covey might draw attention, you might just see it play out weird. Greg Ward is gone. I haven't even heard a peep from Greg Ward all training camp and preseason. I'm being so serious.
Dude,
I don't know. I genuinely don't know if he's hurt. Like, I don't know where Greg Ward is.
Yeah, Deontay got drafted by the Colts.
Okay, look at you.
I read in an article. I'm not taking any credit for that at all.
But we're sitting here. We're assuming 6, right?
Yeah,
6. I'm waiting for like 7 to be kept or something.
And then up to the roster.
Yeah. And then I want to get to the running back room because obviously we all kind of picture
there's a new
how it's going to play out. How it's Miles Sanders battling a hamstring injury, shocker. Kenny G and Boston Scott, but then obviously the rumor swirling of the connection to Kareem Hunt in Cleveland. What are your thoughts on the running back room, and do you have any interest in trading for Kareem Hunt? Because I think there's a lot of people, like I know Scotty is all in on going after Hunt. I'm probably in on it too, depending on what the price is. It can't be too heavy of a price tag.
I think everyone would say yes, depending on the price, but I'm giving up more than probably the average fan to get him. And then, did you see the Kenyon Drake thing? Kenyon Drake just got cut.
Yeah, he did get released.
I think there's serious reason to go after Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, no, I like that as well. I'm shocked that they just let him walk. I don't know what the explanation really was. George, I'm being dead serious. I don't know if George would know more about this if he's seen anything. He's saying 6 makes sense if Howie anticipates trading Reagor at some point. Hey, it'll pull off another miracle. Again, I haven't talked a lot of Eagles and Howie lately, but hey, man, my tone has completely changed for the time being on Mr. Roseman because you put together the offseason this man's had, and I can't complain about a goddamn thing. Not a single thing.
Yeah,
how he's done it.
Eagles fans will find something to complain about it. Especially they don't get like Kareem Hunt, but again, Kenyon Drake is someone I'm kind of repeating myself here, but I think that's someone you definitely should show interest in. Miles Sanders, like, who really knows what Miles Sanders is going to be this year?
Who knows how
we all kind of know what Kenny Gainwell is, and Boston Scott's going to score against the Giants, but that's about it. So I really think you should entertain that idea if you don't go get Kareem Hunt. And I don't really know what the latest rumor is. Like I said, I haven't really been on Twitter today, but I don't know if there's been traction gained in the Kareem Hunt front, but I would really like to see a different running back in that room before the season starts. Yeah, no, it's definitely an interesting point because I'm kind of with you. And that obviously, again, Boston Scott has a great drive against the Browns in preseason, and everyone's like, this is Boston Scott saying, shove it with the Kareem Hunt rumors, and we don't need another running back. And I can't really get behind that because, to your point, Miles Sanders is the key here, right? If you have faith that Miles Sanders is going to stay healthy for a majority of the season, if he's going to play 14, 15 games, I'm fine with the running back room. However, if he's not going to be able to stay healthy, I'm not confident, as some people are, some fans are, in a Boston Scott, Kenny G duo. Neither is a 3-down back. Both are very stylistic. Like, they're both smaller backs who can catch the ball out of the backfield, have a decent amount of speed, run north-south. Like, they're very similar. Is there any other fan base in the world that would try to convince you the fact that Boston Scott and Kenny Gainwell are enough in the backfield to be legitimate threats? Yeah, no, 100% that people would. And to George's point, you can find a running back anywhere, especially behind this offensive line. But I do think maybe, listen, if you have question marks about Kareem Hunt's character and the off the field stuff that happened a couple years ago, I understand it from that standpoint. Yeah, but I think we're shortchanging the talent. Like, if Kareem Hunt's here, everyone's gonna be like, oh, why? So Kareem Hunt would instantly be the best running back in that room. Yeah. Miles Sanders healthy or not. Yeah. Yeah. So, like, if you went out and traded for Kareem Hunt,
my mindset at least would not be so he can play alongside Miles Sanders like he did Nick Chubb. No, Kareem Hunt's RB1, and everyone else can scatter in around. I think we're shortchanging it from that perspective.
No, I absolutely agree. That is very true. And this Miles Sanders project seems to be, when you handed in a project and you were like, I know the score that's coming back on this one, and you just knew what you were going to get, and it came back to be a C minus. Like that's I think that's what you're going to be getting out of Miles Sanders this year.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe what if they don't make a move? He turns out to be all right. But I'm going to get either Kareem Hunt. I'm going to entertain the idea of Kenyon Drake or any other running back that maybe spirals out these next couple of days.
And Abe and George are kind of on the same page right now. They basically don't see a point in giving up anything for a running back, which are a dime a dozen. And
what would be your like? That's just enough, but I'm not giving up any more package for Kareem Hunt.
For Kareem Hunt?
Yeah.
I don't know. I saw the package Jacob Media posted, and it was the most outlandish thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
What was it?
They said, would you do this trade? And it was Kareem Hunt and a second rounder to the Eagles for Gardner Minshew. No, I'm being dead serious. I can pull it up if I can, if you need me to. It's Jacob Media. It wasn't
There's
a troll.
No
wasn't
way.
anything.
There's no shot. That was the package.
Look it up. Look it up. Look it up.
Wait, the Eagles got the second round pick?
Yeah, the second went to Philly with Hunt for the backup QB. Yeah, no, it was a real thing. I couldn't believe my eyes, and I'm like, this is real. Yeah, I'd give up a fifth. You might even see me give up a fourth. I don't I'm different in terms of this. Listen, I know the draft class Howie put together this year and last year has looked very promising, and there's even the later round guys seem like they can make contributions. But I'm not sweating over a 6th round draft pick in the future. Just not doing it. And again, I think we're true. George, I know your point. I get it. Especially behind this offensive line, a lot of running backs, a lot of different guys can come in here and find success. But I think we're shortchanging again the idea of a running back with Kareem Hunt's talent behind this offensive line. Do the Eagles need Kareem Hunt? No, they don't need Kareem Hunt. But I think it could damn sure take the offense to an even higher level than what it is right now, because he is a very talented running back.
Would you give up Dillard?
Jordan,
I know. I feel like that's the line. That's the 50-50 line of a lot of Eagles fans if they'd give up Andre Dillard or not.
Yeah. No, and I get you. There was no star. I get it. And they had the number 1 rushing attack. My point is, let's say they were here, and I know they were number 1, so they were at the top of the mountain, right? But they're here. He would take you to here because that talent behind this line with Hurts, with the receivers, I think would be really dynamic, and he can catch the ball out of the backfield. I know a lot of other guys can do that, but not the level he can. They don't need Kareem Hunt, but I would like Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
Dillard's interesting because I'm not an Andre Dillard guy. I know everyone looks at him for the depth, though. If my lotto goes down, if something happens, he's a depth guy. I probably, even though I don't like him, I wouldn't do it. But
my least favorite thing in sports, Dylan, is when people plan for injury. But what if they go down? You don't plan in sports to win with your backups. If you don't have your starters, most sports, unless you're Nick Foles, you don't really win in sports. It just doesn't happen.
See, this is where I'm disagreeing with George and Abe too, because I get it. He is the backup at the moment. I'm not an Andre Dillard guy, man. I'm scared. I get it. Is he maybe a little bit better than LaRaven Clark at left tackle? Yeah, sure. Andre Dillard can't defend a bull rush in 2 years of being in the NFL. I haven't seen a goddamn thing change. And like you said, I wouldn't do it. I'm saying no to the trade. But I do think the people that are just hell no. I'm not trading Andre Dillard for Kareem Hunt. You're talking about a really good starting running back for a backup.
So
I'll give the term mediocre.
It sounds like you're saying yes, but you're just saying no.
See, I'm talking myself into it, but I'm trying to talk myself out of it. I'm saying no. But
I don't know is there another package where you trade Rager for him, obviously, right?
Are you joking?
Rager in a fifth.
I would trade Jalen Rager for a 6-pack of Corona.
Rager in a fifth.
Yeah. Don't up it. Don't up it no more.
I was gonna say Rager in a fourth.
Yeah, don't do that.
No,
because you might get me to say yeah, and I don't want to say yeah.
it's
I'm not. I'll put it this way: I'm not giving up a third or higher.
You don't want to get it on document.
A fourth tickles me a little bit.
You don't want to get it on document in case Rager defies the odds, like his Instagram says today.
I don't care about that whatsoever. Like I hope he goes. And yeah, George, I know they don't want Rager, but like this is the question, right? Like I know they don't want Rager. Everyone knows they don't want Rager, but then how the hell did I hear before that the Ravens had interest in Jalen Rager? That was an actual report. On what world did a team have genuine interest in Jalen Rager?
There's no way. There's no way.
Oh, Abe, I get you. I'm just slightly messing around, but
oh, that's a different story. If you're not trading on Andre Dillard for specifically Kareem Hunt because he's Kareem Hunt and what he's done in the past, that's a different story. That's saying you don't want Kareem Hunt because of the person he is. I'm saying,
or they just don't believe in trading an asset like Dillard for a running back.
That makes sense as well. If that's what
it's tough, man. It's tough. And then I got to get off this running back room because it's driving me bonkers. So hopefully Miles Sanders stays healthy, knock on wood this year, and they have a nice little duo trio they can roll out there in Nick Sirianni's offense, and we can have some fun with it. But I want to move over to the defensive side of the ball before we wrap up this show. Listen, man, not a lot of holes, if we're being honest. I can point to one. Safety.
It's a big hole, Dylan.
And I know I'm about to get George T riled up in this chat right now because he is a Marcus Epps guy. He believes in Marcus Epps. And I'm not totally discounting Marcus Epps. But safety is an issue. So my question to you is, how much, obviously Jesse Bates signs the franchise tag today. That dream scenario is gone for myself and other Eagle hopefuls for the safety spot. What's your worry at the safety position? Because when you look around, you know what the cornerback room is. You know the depth and the talent on the defensive line. You know how improved the linebacking room is. Safety is the only question. And in my mind, you can hide safety. I won't say a lot, but you can hide safety a hell of a lot more than you can hide CB2 if they didn't have James Bradbury, or your slot corner if they didn't have Avonte Maddox, or your linebackers like when we had Nate Gary out there turning the wrong way at the goal line every weekend, right? So what's your worry on this safety room? Can they hide them? Are they good with what they got?
First of all, no, they're not good with what they got. If there was ways to improve it, it'd be a different story, but there's not. It doesn't seem, at least. I mean, but everything's a worry, like between Marcus Epps and Anthony Harris. I don't know which one. Which one are you more?
Listen, you're being generous with Anthony Harris. Like Anthony Harris had a toothache and missed it. I can't keep a straight face. I'm sorry.
Well, let me ask you, so just quick sidebar. I have a cousin from Dallas, Eagles fan, huge Eagles fan, one of the biggest Eagles fans.
Interesting. Normally you get the other way around. You get the Dallas fan somehow in Philadelphia.
No, yeah. So I was talking to him. He was here this weekend. He goes, "Oh no!" I was like, "Dude, what are we gonna do at safety? Like, you seem so unbothered." He's like, "Yeah, we have Marcus Epps."
Dude, people are like, George can attest to it. He's seen things and he's heard things and he's read art. Like, people are high on him, and I know the organization is high on him because they were trotting him out there the last year when they didn't necessarily need to. I just haven't seen enough myself. I'll be damn happy if Marcus Epps proves me wrong on this defense. Damn happy. I don't see it. Yeah, George, I know they weren't actually going to trade for Bates. I'm just saying, like, the scenario as a whole is gone, and it is where, like Abe's saying, could definitely look to bolster that. You're damn right. We could definitely look to bolster it. Obviously, I think you have to start Epps and Harris. Wallace is almost becoming like a lost cause. Like, I haven't seen anything positive come out of preseason or camp in terms of him. Jaquiski Tart, I'd like the signing. I think he has coverage issues. Hard hitter, heavy hitter, coverage issues. So you're most likely rolling out Ant Harris and Marcus Epps.
Yeah, and You gotta have a hole, or I guess you don't have a hole somewhere.
Or the dude they picked up from Seattle for J-Jaw, Ugo, I don't know what his name is, but he plays safety, he plays corner, plays the nickel.
Yeah, he's Jabril Peppers at Michigan, man. He's everywhere.
Yeah, plays on the line. He does a lot. But
dude, safety's probably going to be an issue. If you had to point your finger to something you think is going to be an issue on the defense, it has to be the safety position. Again, Mark Stepps might prove us wrong, but
if we're talking about issues as a whole, I know we talked about the running back room and the wide receiver. That wasn't an issue. That was just a conversation of the pieces in those rooms. If we're talking clear holes or clear issues on this team, that is the only position there is a hole. Well, in terms of question mark, sure, we can throw quarterback in there. But I'm not going to use the phrase hole. I'm not going to say it's a problem, but it's definitely a question mark.
For sure.
All right, Gint. Anything else in Eagles world that you want to get to? I just need regular season to get here. Like the hypotheticals, the talking about preseason. I can't do it too much longer.
I feel like it's dragging too.
I know. I feel training camp got here, right? Training camp got here quick, and then we've just been
it's
slow to the gates.
But yeah, we'll keep trying to push out things that's coming, but hopefully some interesting things happen. Like I said, hopefully we hear about a Kenyon Drake signing or Kareem Hunt trade, and we'll have a lot to talk about that.
Yeah, George is starting the hashtag Hurts is elite. What's the name? But yeah, guys, that is going to wrap up this edition of the Phaithful Phanatics show. As you guys know, we are always streaming to you guys live here on DSM Media on our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter channel. Head on over to @DSM_media on Twitter. Hit that follow button. Check us out on YouTube. We greatly appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button. Like this video. Do whatever you got to do. Gant and I will be back next week, hopefully with a much more positive, happier tune about the Phillies. Another week closer to the Eagles regular season starting, and that is when the show will get a lot more fun. Another week closer to Sixers. KD apparently not leaving. Gint, talk about that in the future. Yeah, not buying it. Neither am I at the moment, but we will see. So everybody have a great rest of your night. Come hang out with myself and the beard, Phil Stifle, in about a half hour as we kick off Phillies as DSM pregame live, Phillies Reds game 2. Can they take care of business tonight? Before we get you out of here, did the Phillies win tonight?
Yeah.
Did the Phillies go 7-0 this week against the Pirates and the Reds? Yeah.
Not 7-0.
Yeah.
The sky's going to be falling if they don't go 7-0, so hopefully.
Yeah. Phillies win tonight. We'll get to that in about a half hour. Have a great night. Enjoy the game. Ring the bell.